The day the aliens arrived was sunny and warm. People around the world watched their screens as the strange ship hovered above New York. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a teardrop with no sharp edges anywhere. No one knew what to expect. Jack Miller sat in a conference room at the United Nations, tugging at his too-tight collar. At 35, with brown hair that never stayed combed and a face that his mother called trustworthy, Jack hadn't expected to become humanity's representative to an alien species. He had been a diplomat for 12 years, mostly handling trade disputes between countries. Nothing in his training had prepared him for aliens. "They call themselves the Khazari," said General Owens, pointing to an image on the screen. "Their first messages indicated they're peaceful. They want to learn about us." Jack nodded, still not sure why they had chosen him for this job. The room was filled with important people, scientists, military officers, and government officials from around the world. Yet somehow he was the one selected to go up to their ship. "Remember," the general continued, "we know almost nothing about them. Be careful what you say and do." 3 hours later, Jack stood on a landing pad as a small shuttle descended from the main ship. His heart raced as the door opened with a soft hiss. The first Khazari stepped out slowly. The alien was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. It had 4 arms, each ending in 7 slender fingers. Its face had 2 large purple eyes with no visible pupils, a small slit where a nose might be, and no visible mouth. It wore something like a silver jumpsuit that flowed around its body. "Greetings," came a voice, though the alien's face didn't move. Some kind of translator, Jack realized. "I am Ambassador Vrelanex of the Unified Khazari Domains. We come in peace and curiosity." Jack stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Jack Miller, representing the United Nations of Earth. We're honored by your visit." The alien made a flowing gesture with its upper arms. "The honor is mutual. Your world has been observed for some time. Your species is fascinating to us." Over the next few days, Jack learned more about the Khazari. They were an old species that had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. They had encountered many alien races, but humans were unique to them in several ways. "Your planet would be considered hostile by most spacefaring species," explained Zikavor, a Khazari cultural specialist assigned to work with Jack. Zikavor was younger than Vrelanex, his skin a deeper blue with patterns that Jack learned indicated youth. "Hostile? Earth seems pretty nice to us," Jack said with a smile. "The gravity is crushing. The temperature variations are extreme. Your atmosphere contains corrosive elements, and the constant threat of microbiological invasion." Zikavor made a shuddering motion. "Most concerning is your relationship with physical damage." Jack wasn't sure what that meant. "Our relationship with damage? What you call pain. Our studies show your species experiences it constantly, yet continues functioning. It is disturbing yet remarkable." Jack learned that the Khazari had evolved with extremely sensitive nervous systems. Any pain that a human would consider mild was debilitating to them. Their entire civilization was built around avoiding discomfort. Their ships had no hard surfaces. Their food was all soft and mild. Jack's first week aboard the painless journey felt strange. The floors were soft and springy under his feet. The walls curved gently with no corners. The lights were dim and purple-tinted. Everything was designed to prevent even the slightest discomfort. His quarters were large but odd. The bed was more like a cloud than a mattress. The bathroom had no hard surfaces at all. The food was bland paste that tasted vaguely like oatmeal, no matter what color it was. Jack missed coffee and pizza. Zikavor visited Jack daily, asking countless questions about Earth and humans. Today, the young Khazari was especially curious. "I observed the video feed from the Earth News yesterday," Zikavor said, his translator giving his words a slight musical quality. "A human child fell and damaged its outer layer." He meant skin, Jack realized. The child leaked red fluid, made noise, then continued its previous activity. "How is this possible?" Jack smiled. "You mean the kid skinned his knee, cried a bit, then went back to playing?" That's normal. Kids are tough. Zikavor's large purple eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of confusion Jack had learned to recognize. But the pain response was clearly triggered, yet it was ignored? Not ignored. Kids feel pain. But a scraped knee isn't serious. The pain tells us something's wrong, but we can decide if it's worth stopping what we're doing. The Khazari scientist made notes on his tablet. Fascinating. For us, any break in the outer layer would require immediate medical attention and pain suppression. Later that day, Jack was invited to observe Khazari scientists studying human behavior through Earth broadcasts. They had a large room filled with screens showing everything from news to sports to cooking shows. About 10 Khazari sat taking notes, occasionally making distressed sounds. "Welcome, Diplomat Miller," said the lead scientist, Dr. Krenlow. "Perhaps you can help us understand what we're seeing." She pointed to a screen showing a cooking show. The chef had just accidentally touched a hot pan. This human damaged itself. With heat, made a brief noise, shook its upper limb, and continued cooking. Our pain models suggest this thermal damage should have incapacitated it for at least one cycle. A cycle was about an hour in Earth time. "It hurt," Jack explained, "but it wasn't serious. Humans can push through minor pain." Dr. Krenlow's skin rippled, their version of a frown. "We've seen much worse. Observe." The screens changed to show various human activities. A boxer taking punches, a runner with a bleeding foot still finishing a race, a woman in labor, a man getting a flu shot, a child at the dentist. All these humans are experiencing significant pain signals. Yet they continue. "We have developed a theory." Jack raised an eyebrow. "What theory?" "Humans must have evolved a biological necessity to appear strong despite pain. You hide your suffering for social status. Inside you must be in constant agony." Jack laughed, which startled the Khazari scientists. "That's not it at all. We feel pain, yes, but we can tolerate it when necessary. Different humans have different pain tolerances too." None of the Khazari seemed convinced. Dr. Krenlow made a dismissive gesture. "You need not maintain your species facade with us, Diplomat Miller. Our medical scanners detect your pain responses. When you stubbed your foot appendage yesterday, your brain showed clear distress signals." "Well, yeah, it hurt," Jack admitted, "but only for a minute." The scientists exchanged looks that Jack couldn't interpret. He sighed, realizing they didn't believe him. That evening, Zikavor brought Jack a special dinner of actual solid food from Earth supplies. "Thank you," Jack said, biting into something similar to a sandwich. "The science team thinks I'm lying about pain." Zikvor settled onto a cushion. "They cannot comprehend your relationship with physical distress, but I wish to understand." He hesitated. "Perhaps there is a way you could demonstrate this tolerance." Jack swallowed his bite of food. "What did you have in mind?" "I have been researching human customs. There is one practice that particularly confuses us. You call it tattooing. They couldn't understand how humans lived with constant potential for pain. A week after first contact, Jack received new orders. He was being assigned as chief diplomatic officer aboard the Khazari vessel. Painless journey for a cultural exchange mission. He would be the first human to leave the solar system. As Jack packed his bags, he wondered what the Khazari would think when they truly began to understand humans. They had no idea what humans could endure when they needed to. He had a feeling they were in for some surprises. The Zari ship returned to Earth orbit a month after first contact. Jack arranged for Zikvor and 5 Zari scientists to visit the surface. Ambassador Vrelinex approved the trip, but warned them to be extremely careful. "Your world is filled with hard surfaces and sharp edges," the ambassador said. "One injury could be traumatic for our team." Jack assured them they would be safe. The next morning, they boarded a shuttle down to Chicago. The Khazari wore special protective suits that made them look puffy and awkward. "These buildings are so angular," complained Dr. Krenlow as they walked down Michigan Avenue. "The potential for injury is everywhere." Humans stopped to stare at the aliens. Some took pictures. The Khazari stayed close together, nervous in the Sci crowd. "Where are we going, Jack?" asked Zikavor. I thought about what you said about tattoos, Jack replied. My friend Samantha owns a tattoo shop nearby. I thought you might want to see what it's actually like. The Khazari scientists exchanged worried looks but followed Jack down a side street. They stopped in front of a clean, modern storefront with Eternal Ink written in stylish letters on the window. Through the glass, they could see pictures of tattoo designs on the walls. The humans deliberately mark their skin with pigments? Asked one scientist named Dr. Pelty. Using needles? Exactly, said Jack, opening the door. The shop was bright and clean inside. Music played quietly. A woman with short red hair and arms covered in colorful tattoos looked up from the counter and smiled. Jack, long time no see. She came around and gave him a hug. Sam, these are my new friends. They're interested in learning about tattoos. Samantha's eyes widened as she took in the aliens. Well, hello there. Welcome to Earth. I'm Samantha. This is my shop. The Khazari nodded politely but seemed uncomfortable. Zikvor stepped forward. We wish to understand this practice of decorating your outer layer with permanent markings, he said. Sure thing, Samantha said easily. I've been tattooing for 15 years. It's art, self-expression. Sometimes it marks important life events. And the process? It causes pain? Asked Dr. Krenlow. Well, yeah, it hurts some, Samantha admitted. Like a scratching feeling. Some spots hurt more than others. A door at the back of the shop opened, and a tall man with short blonde hair walked out. He wore jeans and held his t-shirt in his hand. His entire back was red and covered with a fresh, colorful tattoo of a ship at sea in a storm. All done, Ethan? Samantha asked. Yep, finally finished. 4 sessions for this bad boy, the man said, trying to look over his shoulder at his back. Worth every minute. It looks amazing, Sam. The Khazari were frozen in place, staring at the large tattoo. Zikvor's translator made a strange sound like it was having trouble processing his words. This human just completed this procedure? Dr. Pelty finally managed to ask. Sure did, Ethan said proudly. Been working on this back piece for months. Just finished the last session. 4 hours today. 4 hours? Dr. Krenlow's voice was barely a whisper. Of needles puncturing your skin repeatedly? Ethan laughed. Yeah, the lower back was pretty rough, not gonna lie. But most of it wasn't too bad. I was playing games on my phone for part of it. Dr. Pelty swayed slightly and had to be steadied by another scientist. Samantha carefully put a protective covering over Ethan's tattoo and gave him care instructions. He pulled his shirt back on carefully, paid, and left with a wave. Would you like to see how it works? Samantha asked the group, pointing to her tattoo machine. 2 of the Khazari scientists backed toward the door. Perhaps a demonstration would be informative, Zikvor said slowly, looking at Jack. You want to see someone get a tattoo? What started as a simple demonstration quickly grew into something much bigger. Zikvor called the ship to report Jack's willingness to get a tattoo for scientific observation. Within an hour, the small tattoo shop filled with more Khazari officials. I didn't expect this to become such a big deal, Jack said to Samantha as they watched more aliens enter the shop. She had closed to regular customers for the day. Are you kidding? This is the coolest thing that's ever happened in my shop, she replied, grinning. Aliens watching me work. Ambassador Vrelanex arrived last, moving carefully through the door. The ambassador's suit was more elaborate than the others, with strange symbols marking his rank. Diplomat Miller, Vrelanex said, formally. Zikvor informs me you have agreed to undergo the skin-puncturing ritual as a demonstration. It's called a tattoo, Jack corrected gently. And yes, I thought it might help everyone understand humans better. The ambassador made a gesture that Jack had learned meant skepticism. Our medical team will monitor your biological responses. There will be no shame if you must stop the procedure when the pain becomes too great. Jack tried not to smile. I'm sure I'll manage. Dr. Krenlow approached with several small devices. These will measure your pain signals, heart rate, stress hormones, and neural activity, may I? Jack nodded, and the doctor placed several small discs on his temples, chest, and arm. The devices stuck to his skin without adhesive. What design? Would you like? Samantha asked, pulling out her tablet to show Jack some options. Jack thought for a moment. Something that represents this moment. How about a simple Earth and Khazari symbol? Can you make something like that? Samantha sketched quickly, creating a design that showed Earth with the Khazari symbol for peace above it. It was simple but meaningful. Perfect, Jack said. On my upper right arm, I think. The Khazari scientists set up a half-circle of monitoring equipment around Samantha's station. Several of them checked and rechecked their instruments. This had clearly become an important scientific event for them. I must warn everyone, said Ambassador Vrelanex solemnly. What we are about to witness will be disturbing. The human will experience significant pain but will attempt to conceal it. Please prepare yourselves emotionally. Zikvor moved closer to Jack. You may stop at any time, he said quietly. No one will think less of you. Jack sat in the chair, and Samantha cleaned his arm with antiseptic. The smell of alcohol filled the air. Ready? She asked. Let's do it, Jack replied. Samantha transferred the design to his skin, then prepared her tattoo machine. The Khazari watched with what Jack recognized as their version of horrified fascination. Beginning now, Samantha announced, and the machine buzzed to life. As the needle touched Jack's skin, the Khazari monitors began beeping. Dr. Krenlow stared at her readings with wide eyes. Pain response detected, she announced. Neural pathways are firing. Jack felt the familiar sensation, a sharp scratching feeling. It wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't terrible either. He'd had 2 tattoos before. So, Zikvor, Jack said conversationally, as Samantha worked. Tell me more about your home planet. Is it very different from Earth? The alien stared at him in shock. You wish to converse? Now? Sure, why not? We'll be here a while. Might as well talk. One of the Khazari scientists made a strange sound and had to leave the room. Ambassador Vrelanex's eyes never left the needle moving across Jack's skin. His vital signs indicate pain, Dr. Krenlow stated, sounding confused. Yet his behavioral response is inconsistent with the data. The human is demonstrating remarkable control, another scientist added. Jack smiled. It's not really control. It just doesn't hurt that much. As Samantha continued working on the outline of the Earth, Jack and Zikvor chatted about Khazari music and Earth sports. 15 minutes passed, then 30. The Khazari scientists huddled around their instruments, talking rapidly in their own language that the translators didn't catch. Jack asked. Yes, Zikvor replied. Would you be willing to receive one while we observe? The other Khazari scientist looked shocked at the suggestion. Dr. Krenlow made a distressed sound. You want Jack to get a tattoo? Samantha asked, surprised. Right. Now? I am most curious, Zikvor said. For science. Jack thought for a moment, then shrugged. Why not? I've been thinking about getting another one anyway. An hour into the tattoo, the Khazari were still watching with amazement. Samantha had finished the outline and was now adding color to the small Earth design on Jack's arm. The tattoo was about 3 inches across, simple but well done. Tell me, again about your pain scale, Jack asked Dr. Krenlow, who hadn't moved from her monitoring station. The scientist blinked rapidly. Our pain scale measures from 0 to 10. 0 is no pain. 10 is unconsciousness from pain overload. And where? Do your readings show I am right now? Jack asked. Dr. Krenlow looked uncomfortable. According to our metrics, between 4 and 5. That seems about right, Jack nodded. For humans, that's noticeable pain, but not bad enough to stop an activity we want to do. Impossible, muttered another scientist. A 4 would have most. Khazari unable to function. Jack shrugged his free shoulder. Different species, different tolerances. Ambassador Vrelanex had been silent for most of the procedure, watching intently. Now he stepped forward. Diplomat Miller, you must understand our confusion. Our entire society is built around pain avoidance. Our medical technology, our architecture, our social customs, all designed to prevent the slightest discomfort. Yet, you sit here, being repeatedly stabbed with a needle, talking as if nothing unusual is happening. Samantha looked up from her work. It's not stabbing, it's more like gentle scratching that breaks the surface of the skin. I once broke my leg skiing, Jack added. That was maybe a 7 or 8 on our pain scale. This is nothing compared to that. The Khazari all made the same gesture of disbelief simultaneously. You continued living after breaking a support limb? One asked. Jack laughed. Of course. They put a cast on it, gave me some pain medication, and I used crutches for a while. It healed. Zikavor had been taking notes the entire time. Humans not only tolerate pain but have created recreational activities where pain is a potential outcome. Skiing, boxing, various contact sports. Not because we like pain, Jack clarified. We just don't let the risk of it stop us from doing things we enjoy. Samantha wiped excess ink from Jack's arm. The earth was now blue and green against his skin, with the Khazari peace symbol in silver above it. Almost done, she said. Just need to add a bit more detail to the symbol. Jack nodded and continued his conversation with Zikavor about mountain climbing, another activity that baffled the aliens. As Samantha worked on the final details, Jack's phone rang. Sorry, he said, pulling it from his pocket with his free hand. I should take this. The Khazari watched in shock as Jack casually answered his phone while still being tattooed. Hey, Steve. Yeah, I'm actually getting a tattoo right now. No, nothing big, just a small one. The aliens are here watching, actually. Yeah, they're pretty surprised we can handle it. Dinner tomorrow? Should work. Okay, talk to you then. He hung up and noticed all the Khazari staring at him. What? He asked. You answered a communication device while undergoing the procedure, Ambassador Vrelanek said slowly, as if this were normal activity. Well, yeah, Jack said. My arm hurts a bit, but my ear and mouth work fine. Dr. Krenlo was frantically checking her instruments. This contradicts everything we understood about sentient nervous systems. Samantha turned off her machine. All done. What do you think? Jack looked at his arm. The tattoo was perfect. Earth and the Khazari symbol together in a clean, simple design. It looks great, Sam. Thank you. News of Jack's tattoo demonstration spread quickly through the Khazari ship. When they returned from Earth, Jack found himself the center of attention. Aliens stopped in the hallways to look at him. Some seemed afraid, others curious. No one quite knew what to make of the human who voluntarily endured pain for decoration. 3 days after the tattoo shop visit, Jack was called to a meeting with the Khazari High Council. This was unusual. The council normally only dealt with the most important diplomatic matters. Zikavor met Jack outside the council chamber. You've caused quite a stir, he said. All I did was get a small tattoo, Jack replied. You changed everything we thought we knew about your species. Zikavor's voice was serious. Follow me. The council chamber was large with a circular table in the center. 7 senior Khazari sat around it, including Ambassador Vrelanek. Jack recognized the others as leaders from various departments: science, medicine, security, and cultural affairs. Diplomat. Miller, said the head counselor, an older Khazari with pale, almost white skin. Thank you for joining us. Jack nodded politely. Thank you for inviting me. The head counselor gestured to a chair. Please sit. We have reviewed the data from your demonstration. It has raised important questions about humans. Jack sat down, noticing how the Khazari security officer watched him closely. Questions about what? Jack asked. Ambassador Vrelanek spoke up. About your species' capacity for endurance, about your relationship with pain, about what this means for our future relations. The security officer, who wore a uniform with red markings, leaned forward. If humans can willingly endure pain that would incapacitate a Khazari, what does this tell us about your potential as warriors? Jack blinked in surprise. Warriors? We're not here to fight anyone. Of course not, the head counselor said quickly. But we must understand all aspects of your species. The medical officer, wearing green symbols on her suit, added, We have been reviewing your Earth history. Your early medicine was performed without pain suppression. Your soldiers continue fighting despite injuries. Your athletes compete through pain. This capacity is concerning. Jack sighed. They were missing the point entirely. You're making it sound like humans are some kind of super soldiers who don't feel pain. That's not true. We feel it just like you. We just process it differently. The cultural affairs officer spoke next. Our researchers have been watching more of your entertainment media. Your action movies show humans enduring incredible damage and continuing to function. Is this accurate? Jack laughed. No, those are exaggerated for entertainment. Real humans can't take a bullet and keep fighting like nothing happened. The security officer didn't seem convinced. Yet you can endure having your skin repeatedly punctured while having a casual conversation and eating pizza afterward. That's different, Jack explained. A tattoo is painful, yes, but it's a controlled pain. We know it's not dangerous. We know it will end, and we choose it for a reason we value. The head counselor made a note on his tablet. This ability to contextualize pain is fascinating, and potentially dangerous. Jack felt a chill go down his spine. Dangerous? How? The security officer and Ambassador Vrelinax exchanged looks. Jack didn't like what he was sensing. Some on our ship believe, Ambassador Vrelinax said carefully, that a species with such pain tolerance might pose a threat to galactic peace. If conflict ever arose, humans might not be deterred by measures that would stop other species. Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. You think we're dangerous because we can handle getting tattoos? Not just tattoos, the security officer said. Your entire history shows a pattern of enduring hardship that would destroy other civilizations. You survive conditions that would kill most species. You thrive in environments that should be hostile. And now we learn your pain response is different. The head counselor raised a hand to silence the security officer. No decisions have been made, Diplomat Miller. But the Security Council has requested a full report on human pain tolerance and its implications. Your demonstration raised questions we cannot ignore. Jack looked around the table at the serious faces of the Xari leaders. His simple tattoo had created a diplomatic incident. Humans were now being evaluated as a potential threat to the galaxy. This is absurd, Jack said firmly. You're completely misunderstanding us. He stood up and stretched. The Xari scientists backed away slightly as if expecting him to collapse. Instead, Jack smiled at them. Anyone hungry? There's a great pizza place around the corner. Ambassador Vrelinax made a sound that Jack couldn't interpret. Two of the scientists were rapidly talking to each other in their own language. Zikvor just stared at Jack with what might have been newfound respect. You wish to consume food? Now? Dr. Krenlow asked in disbelief. Sure, Jack said as Samantha applied a thin protective film over his fresh tattoo. I'm starving. Tattoos always make me hungry. The mood on the ship changed after the council meeting. Jack noticed Khazari crew members keeping their distance. Some seemed afraid of him. Others watched him with new interest. It was as if they were seeing humans for the first time all over again. Jack tried to continue his diplomatic work, but it was harder now. The Khazari scientists who had been eager to learn about Earth were more formal and cautious. Only Zikvor still acted the same around him. They're reviewing all the data about humans, Zikvor told Jack one evening as they shared a meal in Jack's quarters. Old Earth broadcasts, medical records, war history, sports competitions. They're especially interested in your emergency workers, firefighters who run into burning buildings, paramedics who work in dangerous conditions. Jack poked at his food. So now humans are scary because we help each other? It's not that simple, Zikvor said. The Security Council sees a species that has evolved to endure conditions that would stop most other species. They wonder what that means if humans expand into space. We just want to explore and make friends, Jack insisted. I believe you, Zikvor said, but not everyone does. The next day, Jack received a message from Earth. The Khazari concerns had reached human leaders. They wanted Jack to help fix this misunderstanding before it damaged the new relationship between their species. Jack spent hours thinking about what to do. He needed to show the Xari that human pain tolerance wasn't a threat. He needed them to understand that enduring pain wasn't about being dangerous, it was about survival and helping others. An idea came to him late that night. He called Zikavor on his communication device. "I need your help," Jack said. "And I need access to the ship's main broadcast system." 2 days later, Jack stood in the ship's large assembly hall. Nearly all 300 Khazari crew members were present, including the High Council. Earth officials watched via video link. This was Jack's chance to fix things. "Thank you all for coming," Jack began. "There's been a serious misunderstanding about humans, and I want to address it." He gestured, and a large screen lit up behind him. "You've been studying human pain tolerance and finding it disturbing, but you're missing the context. Let me show you what pain means to humans." The screen showed images from Earth: a mother holding her newborn baby after a long labor, a father teaching his child to ride a bike despite having fallen many times, a marathon runner crossing the finish line with bleeding feet, firefighters emerging from a burning building carrying children, a cancer patient ringing a bell after finishing difficult treatments. Humans don't endure pain because we're warlike or dangerous, Jack explained. We endure it because sometimes valuable things require sacrifice. Having children, learning new skills, saving others, fighting disease. These things can hurt, but we do them anyway because they matter more than our comfort. The Khazari watched in silence. "You saw me get a tattoo and thought it meant humans were frighteningly tough," Jack continued. "But that small pain was nothing compared to what humans willingly endure for things we care about. A parent would walk through fire for their child. A doctor will work until exhaustion to save patients. A friend will donate a kidney to save someone they love." Jack looked at the council members directly. "Our ability to handle pain isn't a weapon. It's a tool that helps us care for each other. It helps us survive on a planet that isn't always gentle. It helps us do what matters, even when it's hard." Ambassador Vrelenex stood up slowly. "But this capacity could be used for war, for conquest." Jack nodded. "Any ability can be misused. Your advanced technology could be used for destruction, but that's not why you developed it. We don't value pain tolerance because it makes us better fighters. We value it because it helps us be better helpers." The hall was silent when Jack finished speaking. The Khazari looked at each other, processing what they had heard. Jack waited nervously. Everything depended on how they responded. Finally, the head counselor rose from his seat. "Diplomat Miller has given us much to consider. We will recess for 1 hour to discuss." As the council members left the hall, many of the Khazari crew approached Jack. They seemed less afraid now, more curious. "Is it true that human mothers endure extreme pain to birth their young?" one female Khazari asked. "Yes," Jack said, "though we have medicines to help now, but many still choose to experience it." "And humans donate parts of their bodies to help others, while conscious?" asked another. "Blood, bone marrow, even kidneys sometimes," Jack confirmed. "It can be uncomfortable, but people do it to save lives." Zikavor stood beside Jack, adding his own explanations when needed. Jack was grateful for the support. After years of diplomatic work, this was the most important moment of his career. An hour later, the council returned. The hall grew quiet again. Jack stood tall, hoping his message had gotten through. The head counselor looked around the room before speaking. After review of Diplomat Miller's presentation and much discussion, the High Council has reached a decision regarding humans. Jack held his breath. "We have misunderstood human pain tolerance," the head counselor continued. "We saw it only as a potential threat. We failed to recognize its purpose in your species' development and survival." Ambassador Vrelenex stepped forward. "Our initial assessment was incomplete. Humans do not seek out pain, nor are they immune to it. Rather, they have evolved to contextualize it differently than we do." The security officer spoke next, surprising Jack. "A species that endures discomfort to help others is not a threat. It is a valuable ally." Jack felt relief wash over him. They understood. Therefore, the head counselor announced, "We propose a new cultural exchange program. Khazari medical experts will study human pain management techniques while humans can benefit from our advanced pain relief technology. Both our species have much to learn from each other." Applause filled the hall, an unusual sound on a Xari ship. Jack noticed some of the aliens trying to copy the human gesture, tapping their many fingers together awkwardly. 3 weeks later, the first official Xari human medical exchange began. Doctors from Earth visited the Xari ship to learn about their advanced pain management systems. Xari medical personnel observed human hospitals, amazed at how patients recovered from surgeries and injuries. Jack stood in the shuttle bay with Zikvor, watching the first group of Xari doctors prepare to visit Earth. "They're still nervous," Jack observed, noticing how carefully the aliens checked their protective gear. "They are," Zikvor agreed. "But they're also excited. Your world scares us, but now we see there is much to learn from a species that faces pain with such courage. And humans can learn from you too," Jack said. "There's no reason people should suffer when pain can be managed better." A young Xari doctor approached them hesitantly. "Diplomat Miller, I have a question before we depart." "Yes?" "I have been studying your tattoos. I understand now why humans get them. To mark important events, to express themselves." She paused. "Do you think, would it be possible for a Xari to receive one?" Jack was stunned. "You want a tattoo? But the pain, it would be difficult," she admitted. "But perhaps with proper preparation and your pain management techniques, I would like to mark my part in this historic exchange between our peoples." Jack smiled. "I'll introduce you to my friend Samantha. She's very gentle." As the shuttle departed for Earth, Jack looked at his own tattoo, Earth and the Xari symbol together. What had started as a simple demonstration had changed everything between their species. A small moment of pain had led to greater understanding, and wasn't that, Jack thought, the most human lesson of all? The security officer spoke up. "Your history shows many conflicts where humans fought through terrible conditions." "Yes," Jack agreed. "But for every story of a soldier enduring hardship in war, I can show you 1,000 stories of humans enduring discomfort to build something, heal someone, or protect others. That's the true story of human pain tolerance."